Phoenix Moon is the illest. She's at my window. Phoenix Moon is the illest. Phoenix Moon is the illest. She's at my window. Phoenix Moon is the illest. Live from the East Coast, she like a laid dog. Representing Africans to the fullest. That she pulls it. She's the background checker, giving you the facts. Kids to America, not Native American. Better swear. Pull out the Civil Rights Act. Started Paris here. Keep up the sleep. Constitution read. Muffin plenty dreams. Breaking down Greek days. Hood genealogist. Who don't charge a fee? No DVDs. Like bad Africans who start rambling. Phoenix be asking him. His 7th grade granddaddy name was what? Nah, you gonna teach us about King Tut. Nah, honey, boo-boo. DNA or movie related shock Zulu. Show us a paper trail. Lies they tell. Like blacks came from Africa. We was all slaves. No white man captured us. But you like back historical record. We the originals of America. We the indigenous to America. We Aboriginal. Phoenix Moon is the illest. She's Aboriginal. Phoenix Moon is the illest. Phoenix Moon is the illest. She's at my window. Phoenix Moon is the illest. The illest. The illest. The illest.
Halito. What's up, beloveds? What's happening, you beautiful ones? What y'all doing out there in Indian country? Hope everything's healthy. Let's see who's out there. What's up, Lucius? Oak Cliff Tiff, hey, beloved. Rodriguez, can y'all hear me? Can y'all drop a 1 so I can make sure the sound is regular? What's up, Chad Murdoch, Copper Empress, Feathered Sun, Bo Blues, 2020, Copper Empress, Marcus Adamo, what's up, Starstrike? Hey, love. Empress Isha, grand afternoon to you, beloved. Jomar, Orlando, what up, baby? Strategy.com. Hiya Harold, what's happening? Mad Squabbles, Brandon Rogers, what's up with y'all beautiful ones? How y'all doing? I love you too, Dory. We will talk really soon, beloved. Thank you so much. Hey, Dion, what's happening, Dion love? Wildfire, Penny, Beauty, I got to call you, beloved sister. Eric, what's up, beloved? My triplet. You Wetsy. With that gorgeous lipstick. What up, sister? Got to teach me that color. I might have to jack that one. What's up, y'all? So, I'll just give y'all a little briefing of what's going on in Indian country. See, everybody ain't on Facebook and shit. This shit, the tension been, you know, thicker than a peanut butter sandwich, if you will. You know what I'm saying? Shit just been thick. You know, probably ain't have to go that way. But, you know, I want to let me just start off by giving a shout out to John Singleton. John Singleton passed away. You know, our people got to take care of their health, okay? This is the inside scoop, too. John knew that he had high blood pressure for a very long time. You know, and he pretty much didn't want to change the way he was used to living. And, you know, as a result of it, his condition deteriorated, it worsened, the stroke happened, and ultimately he's no longer with us. But I want to give him a shout out because growing up as a Generation Xer, you know, a 70s baby, the things that we have seen and we have been through, whether you were in the suburbs or whether you were in the inner city, whatever, you pretty much seen the same things. There was crackheads in the rural area, crackheads in the suburbs as well as in the city. Okay. So, you know, just a lot of things that we saw changes in our community, the changes in the family structure, the changes in the community structure, the gentrification, the violence, amongst ourselves and just all sorts of things. And John Singleton was able to touch on a lot of those things, in a way that wasn't offensive to us. You understand? But it also gave the outsiders looking in a different perspective. Okay, so I definitely appreciate him. I don't think there was anything that he made that I didn't like, especially Boys in the Hood. You know, he even made 8 Mile. My kids used to love that. John Singleton directed 8 Mile, which was white people Eminem's video. Definitely Poetic Justice, you know, and I could go on and on and on. He did a whole lot. But he handled our story with a different type of regard that a lot of directors didn't encompass as far as our culture. Okay, so even with the violence and the negativity, we still have to admit that that is part of our culture. And there's no reason to be ashamed or deny that that has been part of our culture, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. We still have to identify these things. So when we have all of our things back under one umbrella and we're in control of our cultural products that we extend to the rest of the world, you know, we know how to do things a little differently and a lot better. And we certainly not going to pass the baton off to our oppressors. You know what I mean? You know, any longer. Those are some of the things we're trying to stay away from. So anyway, yeah, I just wanted to give him a shout out. And I also want to just say, you know, like, you know, people would act like diabetes was the end of the world back in the 1800s, excuse me, 1900s, early 1900s. They would think that that was the end of the world. Things like that are completely manageable. High blood pressure is also lack of exercise, a lot of stress. It's not just so much what you eat. You know, they try to put a stigma on our soul food. When our grandparents, some of them lived to 100 and something years old, drinking, smoking, and eating fried chicken and cornbread. Okay. And they just died of old age. They didn't die from all of these, you know, deteriorative diseases and things of that nature, but they also moved around a lot more. They were a lot more athletic and mobile. You know what I'm saying? People, you gotta get out and go wake up and smell the roses. Like, that's some real shit. Get up outside every day. You know what I'm saying? A lot of that has to do with depression. And when people get diagnosed with something just like high blood pressure or diabetes, they end up becoming depressed and not acknowledging that. That's how you become defeated. Not because you have an ailment that you need to correct or address, but because of the way that you handle it. And, you know, sometimes that ends up kicking your ass. Not exactly what they say the disease is or the condition is. It's how you respond and react to it and how you know, take care of yourself in that regard. You know what I mean? So I just want to say to people, like, stay encouraged, man. Don't worry about if you overweight. If you're healthy, then what the fuck? Nobody can tell you nothing. Your doctor ain't sitting there telling you, hey, you got to lose 10 pounds. And, you know, not by the European standards. Oh, you should be this. If you're this tall, you should be this weight. If you're this weight, you should have this amount of body mass index and all that other stuff. Whatever, you know, you're healthy, whatever makes you healthy or keeps you healthy, whatever you're happy with, certainly maintain that. But you got to make sure you're taking care of yourself. Because if you don't take care of yourself, then it's going to be to the detriment of you and your children and everybody else that cares about you. So just try and, you know, maintain. Don't be depressed about none of this shit. You got to start talking about some of these things, good, bad, and indifferent. I want to start a mother's group. And the reason why I want to start a mother's group, I've seen a lot of instances in the news of abuse, women straight up doing these kids foul. And I know that not only do they not have leadership, they don't have anybody to listen to them. There's so many dynamics that I could go on and on and on and on, but they need to be able to talk about these things that's going on in their house that they're afraid to talk about. And they're not addressing these issues, and it's just creating more of a problem, you know, and it's trickling down to the next generation. You know what I'm saying? I would respect a woman that knocks on my door and drops her kids off and say, hey, you better take them before I fuck them up. Yeah, it would probably bother me, but I think I would respect that woman more than to wake up and see police outside next door to me and she done beat the kids to death or lock them in the closet or something like that. So that little moment of that woman knocking on my door and being able to tell me, hey, I am not in control right now, I need help, that's a cry for help. And people need to know that there are people that are available to listen to them. Not so much to judge you, and because a lot of people did repeat in the cycles that they've been through. And some of this stuff might even be newly acquired specifically because of environmental circumstances. You know what I'm saying? Some people are affected more so by the chemtrails than maybe I am. Some people are affected by the ingredients of the detergent that they use than maybe I am. Or you understand what may break me out in hives may not be the same for you. But anyway, we just need to make sure that people have somewhere where they're able to, and it has to be personal and private. Because if you get somebody to open up about things, you can't, use it against them and shit like that. That's abusive behavior, right? Somebody tells you that they molested, and then a year or two later, you get mad at them and be like, oh, that's why you see what I'm saying? People do that. I know men, I've heard, working in domestic violence shelters, you hear a lot of shit. So I've seen a lot of the tactics that some of these men, just the Jedi brain fuck that a lot of men have used to control women. Aside from the physical aspect, it's also an emotional fear that these women have about leaving. If you get told that you ain't gonna be shit without me, sometimes they actually end up believing that. Then they say that they're staying for the children. They make up all these excuses and stuff like that or whatever. But I just want to make sure that we make sure that these women are better equipped with what they need. Now, granted, there's some motherfuckers we just can't save. There's some motherfuckers that just ain't nothing we can do about it. No matter how much we try, there just ain't gonna be shit that we can do about it. But if they have somewhere that they can, be able to, and I'm not a mandated reporter. You go walk into the hospital and start telling these people what's on your mind and shit like that, they're going to say, I'll be right back. And they're going to come back with the motherfucking police and shit. You see what I'm saying? They're not going to actually get you treatment. They're not going to help you get the help that you need to address the issue. They would rather just make money, taking your children away from you, placing them in the system, and damned if you do and damned if you don't. They'll give you a ridiculous task of things to do, which include all sorts of interfering in your life, sometimes even against your rights, just to give you these stipulations to see how bad you want your children back, jumping through rings of fire and shit like that, right? Almost impossible conditions. And 9 times out of 10, that woman's going to agree to them, because now you have these intruders coming in and kidnapping your children and taking them from the home and giving you conditions on how you can get them back, how you can have them back. And they'll make you go into these programs. You got to go piss in a cup and stuff like that. But do they ever address the issues that you really have? They don't. They don't. So again, this ends up rendering the woman helpless. When if you invest in that woman, she will be the most helpful person you'll ever come across. You see? The psychological trauma, like, we can't act like this shit ain't happening. Now you got the family structure that done fucked her up. Then you got these no good niggas that then used her up, washed her up, and put her away wet. Now she's saddled with all these babies, saddled with the stigma, saddled with a bunch of people that do her wrong. So if we start with the life giver, which is the woman, we can work our way backwards and get back to the brothers and make sure that they start getting the treatment and shit that they need, because these niggas been damaged too. They don't know how to stop fucking women's lives up. They don't know how to maintain a lot of themselves, and that shit bothers them. And they take it out on a lot of women. Whether it's multiple women, whether it's just one woman, it's still going to be a lot of that trickle down effect there of, just the overpowering. And sometimes I've seen these niggas, they want to be in charge, but they can't even tie their fucking shoe without supervision. You got grown babies, baby boys and shit running around wanting to act like they men and stuff like that. That's why I'm so glad my son know how to cook. My son could sew a button on his shirt. He could tie a tie. That boy could make him some eggs and cheese and grits if he wants to and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? You got to make sure that they're able to do that. He could fold laundry. He know the colors from the whites and shit like that. You don't cripple your children, your boys, and give them separate tasks and shit like that. You make sure that they're just as responsible and have an equal share in things, so when they're off on their own, they know how to function. And when they're used to seeing a strong foundation, now my son, he got his own crib. He knows how to make sure his bills is paid. He got his money for this. They have these things that they need. So now when they have a mate, they'll be able to function and cohabitate in a peaceful manner, as long as they find somebody that's mentally fit. I tell them, don't just look for the cutie with the booty, nigga. You need to make sure this woman know how to speak, how to hold, maybe you might want to teach her how to hold what's the difference between a salad fork and a dinner fork. You might want to, let her know what the bread plate is versus the water glass and the beverage glass. Like, you can mold people into what it is that you like, but whatever it is that you like about them initially, don't make that be the thing that you hate them for later on in life. Later on down the road, and then you get mad, want to throw them away and shit. Right? You knew she smoked and drank. Now, 2 years later, don't say, I don't like bitches that smoke and drink. You knew there was chlorine in the pool when you jumped in it. These women cannot just be held responsible for, for a lot of the things that the men can control too. It's not just her keep picking a bad baby daddy. Some of these niggas be putting their seeds in bad baby mamas. And then they want some sort of sympathy and shit like that. You saw signs too. You seen some things that wasn't right. You tried to ignore it because she got wet. Whose fault is that? Who's the killer? And the niggas will name her in the indictment, but it really be you. It really be the nigga too. Everybody got some culpability in this shit. But this is something that we're going to have to fix as a community. It's not just going to be Indians knowing the law and Indians knowing who their grandmother is and shit like that. Well, when we going to get back to the motherfucking structure? See, it ain't been that far removed. And a lot of us that was born in the 70s, we remember that era. After that, things fucking changed, right? After that, things fucking changed. If you did something wrong back in the days, the neighbor might bust your ass and then you're going to get your ass beat again when you came in the house. Right? It was the community living. The community raised the child. It wasn't just mommy and daddy, grandma and grandpa. Also, there was multi-generational households. Now these bitches want to kick their children out at 18. Oh, he grown now. He going to have to do something because I'm ready to do me. Bitch, they should not be leaving your house at 18 unless they've been saving money all this time. Because once they leave your house, your ass still going to have to help them. Just because they're legally adults don't mean that they're really mentally that way. You see what I'm saying? You want to still have to go, oh, my son got his own house. And you got to go over there. You got to wash the nigga dishes. You got to help him pay his rent. What the fuck you move out for if you ain't able to do those things? Right? Instead of doing the cooperative economics, these bitches don't want to talk to a nigga that live with his mama. Right? But our kids, they leave in the house a little too early. They're not ready for that. And they're already built up to start worrying about those things. So really kind of in their junior year of high school, I think that there's some sort of almost pre-adult onset stress level that comes on them, because then they are thinking about how they're going to, what they're going to do when they turn 18. White kids don't have no fear of that shit. They stay in their parents' house until they're 20, 30 years old. And then they move out on their own. They get their house up the block next door, something like that. And they work together, right? There's some things we're going to have to do, especially if we, and we got to jumpstart these things particularly fast, rather expeditiously, specifically because we need to groom the children that we already had that didn't have the same access to this information 10, 20 years ago. Now, some of us have to make sure that we are engaging directly with them so that they are aware of a lot of this information that we have come across. And certainly that it's instilled in them that when the grandkids arrive, that the grandkids, they should have the cleanest, freshest start ever. We are in a really good position, particularly with the, not just the momentum, but just all of the information that has been put out. The awakening, the great awakening has done wonders for us, and it's definitely improved our situations. So now when we have these grandchildren, next 5, 10 years or whatever, next year, next month, next week, those grandchildren will have a clean slate. That should be very fucking important. That should be very important. So I realized something also about grandparents. They like the parents with sugar on it. Isn't it the irony that all of us just have this just think so tenderly about our fucking grandparents, whether it was all 4 of them or whether it was one of them, whether it was a grandfather or a grandmother, there's a certain way that we looked at them with such admiration and respect. And that's the same look that I want for my children. That's the same look that I want for my grandchildren. I want that. I want that for myself. I will be so excited at the point where I become a grandparent. There's going to be it's just going, if I'm anything like how my mother is to my children or how my grandmother was to me, my life's complete. I'm great with everything after that. Who would have thought that that would be one of my fucking aspirations, to be a fucking good grandmother? One of my lifetime goals, my bucket list. And it still goes back to family. It still goes back to what really makes my heart beat. You know what I'm saying? And it's them. Hands down. Hands down. So I just want to make sure, Halito, Darren, I just want to make sure that we give them a better start. Some of us is late bloomers and shit like that, but there's so many things that we could line up and outline so that the future generations don't have to backtrack. They don't have to, okay, now I got to go study the Civil Rights Act. I got to go this, I got to do that. They will already have it laid out for them. Even just start writing your own manifesto for your family, for the youngins in the family, your great nieces, your nephews, and all of them. It doesn't matter how late you are. The best part about it is that you start. So it's better late than not at all. But when you have those future generations who haven't even arrived yet, you should have some sort of manifesto, something laid out for them. Some sort of way that you want to remind yourself when they're in your care and they're in your custody, something that you are constantly pushing, predominantly what your culture is, that you are the American Indian, so they don't confuse, with this system and stuff like that. And if you're able to, as a grandmother, homeschool your grandchildren. Now these bitches that had grandkids at 35 years old, they still in the club, so they not watching their daughter that they had at 15's grandbaby or baby. So that cycle is kind of shifted. So now there's a crew of kids that been without grandparents. And you can tell the motherfuckers that been without grandparents. Not because they were already passed on before they were born, just because they were scattered into some same shit that mommy was into at their time of birth. There's been a lot of that shit going on. Can't act like there wasn't that shit going on. You know what I'm saying? So we definitely have to make sure that we do something. We pay it back forward. And we can certainly pay these motherfucking oppressors back with how the excellence that we instill in our posterity. The excellence. Look at these white women raising moguls. Every other one's a fucking team takeover nigga. Take over a country, take over a continent. They couldn't have done that in such a short time. You see what I'm saying? That was a really short time that they did that. You see? So hold on one second. We have to make sure that we are instilling these types of things in our children, not the whole, rape and pillage to take over the fucking land kind of thing, but just that mindset of success, that mindset of making sure that they are the framers of the new school. They are the ones that we build the foundation. They are the ones that are edifying and adding the floors to the building. And they get to determine who's at the upper echelon and not, especially here in their land. They get to determine that. Now, do you realize the power that we have, first off, with the children that don't have that we ain't got no place to call home attitude, where they got to run off, going fucking wearing dashikis and back to Africa medallions and fucking shit like that, and the wooden earrings and all that. They don't got to do that. They're not looking for nothing. They don't got to deal with no Malachi York. They don't got to deal with no ISUPK. They ain't got to deal with no goddamn Farrakhan. They ain't got to deal with no Al Sharpton. It's a clear fucking path for them now. So if they're fucked up, it's because we fucked up. If they fucked up, it's because we fucked up. And we got a lot of power right now. And that's what we have to make sure that we are encouraging and promoting. We have to make sure that we are encouraging and promoting that, learning different languages. So when these motherfuckers go in these different places and you hear these people talking, you can actually interpret and say something back to them in their own fucking language. Being able to do business relationships internationally. If you start them small, they'll be able to attain 7, 8 languages and just do some amazing shit. They'll be able to do amazing things if you start them off early and make it interesting and make it to where it's interactive. You know what I'm saying? What's going on? Halito Damon Taylor, what's happening, beloved? I bet she is. I bet she is excited for you. I'm happy you got out the city and went down there too. I think we all probably need to be down in our ancestral lands and stuff like that. I saw something in the chat about Masons and stuff like that. We are so over that. Flying dragons out the sky, falling out the sky, masonry, and twist my fingers with my hands, and Nipsey was a woman. Oh, leave that shit alone. That shit ain't no Mason fucking my life up right now. I'm in control of my shit. The American Indian's in control of her shit. I got me and my area secure. And I suggest that everybody else do the same. I am not about to live in fear of no fucking Illuminati, none of that bullshit. Because as it stands, a lot of shit that happened was from the lack of knowledge, not because somebody else. I'm giving these. You can't take away the power from the fucking churches and Jesus and give it to a bunch of strangers, and you can't fucking identify none of them. None of these niggas that you know to be Masons got any fucking regulation or power over the shit that's fucking oppressing you. So knowing the law, knowing the practicality of the matter, and just being able to think like a natural person of this land, I'm already past the motherfucking Illuminati. This is my house. Now, if I could get 10 more motherfuckers with the same bloodline like me on the same motherfucking page, this our house. And we all gonna have assignments. Them motherfuckers gonna have to step to the side because there's laws in place that we can have people that persecute us and try to hurt us removed from this fucking country. That's the type of action that I'm about. That's the type of shit that I'm looking to do. Serious inquiries only. I don't care about all that fantastic shit that's supposed to be, I'm not a fucking YouTube watcher and I sit there and look at all these conspiracy theorists, Alex Jones all day, and dragons falling out the sky in China and fucking spaceships and aliens over here. And niggas lead a church and say fuck Jesus, but they bringing aliens into the platform and shit. Like, I can't do it. I'm not going to do it. Anything that take my mind off the land, or anything that take my mind off of my civil rights and shit like that, or for grandma, I don't fuck with it. And it's been safe keeping ever since. When I think land, family, land, family. Land, family, law. It's the same thing. Consistent. None of that shit. I don't have to worry about none of that shit. I ain't saying it don't exist. I'm saying that shit don't fuck with my life. That shit don't fuck with my quality of life. When I walk outside this door or my door or any fucking door, the last thing I'm thinking about is Illuminati. Last thing I'm thinking about is this guy a Mason? I don't give a fuck about none of it. And I suggest you don't worry about it either, because that is a tool, a propaganda tool used to sidetrack you, distract you, and make you fearful of something that you can't see or touch. The same way they did with heaven and hell, God and Jesus. You can't feel them, can't touch the motherfucker, but if you do this wrong, you're going to hell. Same thing. You're supposed to be fearing Illuminati and shit like that. Nah, I ain't doing it. That's just me. Everybody else could do what they want, but this ain't the place for it. This ain't the place for it. That's fucking fear mongering. Can't put your finger on it, but you know the Illuminati killed. You're gonna give these motherfuckers power, same way they gave Jesus power. All the people with the fucked up health got Jesus and the Lord to thank for their fucking health, right? Illuminati killed Nipsey. You know Illuminati did this. You giving the power to another entity that you can't even prove exists. You heard about the shit, but so did everybody hear about Jesus, word of mouth. Now they got the motherfucking books. Now it's around the world. Same thing going on with Illuminati. Same thing. Oh, Illuminati. What the fuck are you afraid of? Nigga, Illuminati ain't in your motherfucking neighborhood on New Year's Eve when them fucking guns is going off, is it? Is he? Is it? Are they there? Can nobody never say that they was fucking held up, stuck up, had to put their hands in the air because Illuminati came to rob me? You're not thinking that. It's some young fucking punk that wants to rob you. You gotta worry about what's right here in front of you and shit like that. All that other spook behind the door shit, that shit is another part to monopolize a part in your brain and rent space in your brain to where you're not thinking about freedom, you're not walking in freedom, you're not concerned with liberty, you still got that bit of fear. And that fear is going to be what holds you fucking back. That fear is still the belief that the white man is so superior that he put together this whole secret society to destroy you when all these motherfuckers could kill us all dead and have all the money in the world to live here without us, totally automated with robots serving them and everything. So what are people really talking about? My email is 1492 Phoenix MJ Jones. Chamachukma Trauma Hall. That's a fact, Eric. That's a whole fact. Keep your head to the sky while what's under your feet is being taken is the strategy. That's a whole fact. Couldn't have said it better myself. Couldn't have said it better myself. Now, collectively, there's some things we need to do. We got to have a vetting process because I'm going to tell y'all the truth. Y'all still got to be careful. It's a lot of motherfuckers trying to come through, telling y'all to join them and join them. Nothing wrong with nation building. Let me just make that clear. But you got to know who you building a nation with. Okay? So one of the things going on in Indian country, and I'm tired of even giving this nigga rhythm. After this point, all the people that's doing their research, they now know who Hemok Sealip is. If you don't know who Hemok Sealip is, look up the NAAIP and also the NAAIPI and see what type of piece of shit this dude is. Been talking about him for 4 years now. Okay? 4 years now. He got a whole bunch of people out here that a lot of the American Indians been following and they don't even know it. He's one pushing these agendas and shit like that. Another sidetracker, you know, got niggas talking about dragons and he's making these niggas chiefs for $600. Making niggas chiefs. Making niggas chiefs for $600. Talking about performing tribal trusts and all this other shit. And then they asking you, they sending you packages, asking you for your social security number, who your ancestors are and all that. These motherfuckers ask for more information than the pilgrims do. You got to do a background check. If they want you to be a part of something that they got and you got to disclose that, then guess what? They should be able to do the same thing to you. Don't buy no fucking wooden nickels. Don't buy no wooden nickels. I don't care if it's one person in your family, you got 4 children, nigga, that's your tribe right there. 4 children that you can groom and you got control over and you can mold them all into different things, right? This one like to play with trucks, teach him how to build big machine mechanics, right? This one like to play ball, listen, make him into a physical education teacher. You don't got to be no goddamn NFL or NBA dude, right? Teach them about sports medicine. Have them all doing different things that's going to be, you know, something that can contribute. If you own a trucking business, wouldn't you want your children to follow in those footsteps? Teach one son how to do the big diesel mechanics so when the trucks break down, you got the little nigga already on the job, right? He's ready to jump in the tow truck and keep it moving. Then you got this one. This one does insurance. This one does this. This one does that. If you got a trucking business, you can cut out all of the middlemen, have your mechanic and your broker on your team, on your squad. You can do your team takeover just with your own folks if you are willing to build these types of relationships with them. Hey, Joe 47. Marlon, what's up, beloved? Wallace Carroll. Halito, Sister Annette. What's up, young Cherokee? You know, we just got to make sure that we giving them some solid shit to deal with. Not everybody, don't give them that stigma like, if you don't go to school, you're going to be a fucking failure. Nigga, Bill Gates ain't finished high school. And look at him now. Don't mean you, that don't make you smart, and it don't make you, you know, a loser. Motherfuckers don't go to college and shit like that. Got to stop putting that stigma on there. Got to stop putting that stigma on there. So yesterday on my Facebook Live, I talked about, you know, just not buying no wooden nickels and shit like that. So I'm going to do a little screen share. I just want to show y'all something, right? This shit is funny. Don't get mad. I'm just fucking keeping it real. And you tell me, okay, so look. So, where is that? Okay. So I'm telling people Moors have a responsibility to do their genealogy as well. Do not let them keep telling you, oh, our peoples was Moors. Our peoples was Moors. No, maybe their peoples was Moors, but let me show y'all what was hitting for as far as Moors are concerned. Okay. All right, now, let me just, I hope that y'all could all see that. Can y'all see the screen? Presented. Let me see. There you go. Can y'all see the screen? Okay, wait a minute. There we go. Now I want y'all to see, I'm not going to put in any name, no year, anything. I'm just going to put in for their nationality. Now watch this shit. Put in more. Okay. Check this out. 1940s, right? Look at these people listed as more. Leftwich, Bay. And the Bays don't come until the 1940s, okay? I just want y'all to see this. Let me make it bigger. There you go. Look how scattered they are. I'm going to show you. This ain't even the funny right here. Okay. 1940 census, 1940, dot, dot, dot. You have deaths and stillbirth index. Sure, guys should always check that as well, too. Now, this right here, this child's name was Eliza Lovett Bay. Okay. This is the cemetery that they're born in. Asian. Race is Asian. Y'all see that? Asian. Female. So they got to be careful what they're calling themselves. That ain't all. Okay, so you got a Muhammad Skelly. His birth, he was born in Morocco, 1883, right? Look at that last name. Which one of these Moors got last names like that? Skelly. Death date. This person died in El Paso, Texas, 24. And look, it has his race listed as Moor. He died at 40 years old. Let's be nosy. I want to see what he died from. I'm just being nosy right now. Okay. Valvular heart disease. Okay, so he had a mitral insufficiency. All right, so that makes sense. All right, so now listen, these are his parents. His birthplace was in Morocco. Name of his father was Salah Skelly. Birthplace of the father, Morocco. Maiden name of mother was Mercy Mohajad or Mojahad, okay? She's also from Morocco too. Color or race, Moor. Color or race, Moor. Okay? So, let me go down here. Let's just keep scrolling down. 1940s, 1920. Okay, you got one lady here, Mary Berry. Right? She was born 1887. Now, I'm telling y'all, like I said yesterday, there's something significant. You do not see any of these folks listed as Moor or anything close to it until the 1900s. Okay? And for whatever reason, the people, coincidentally, are all born in the 1880s. Very weird, but whatever. This is what's going on. So they have the race listed as black. Let's see what the document says. Let me see. Okay, here they go. All right, so here's Neil and Mary Berry. Now it has them listed as black. Yeah, has them listed as black. Got Lovette Bay. That's the one we looked at. George Smith, his spouse Helena. George A. Smith Bay. Game. Now this is the time after who was available? Noble Drew Ali, right? Now this man passed away in Cook County, where Noble Drew Ali was in 1941. You see this shit here? Now this is where the shit started. It's like a cult. Looks good. And his race is listed as Asian. Okay? He was born June 22nd, 1871 in Georgia. Race is Asian. Let's see where his parents were born. See if it gives us that. Okay, so no, it doesn't. But this is George A. Smith Bay. Okay? Smith Bay. Let that sink in. Who's that? Okay, you got Flossie Turner Bay. And they was born in Missouri. Albert Turner Bay. So they was getting people to do this shit a long time ago. Race Asian. Race Asian. Muhammad Skelly again, Morocco. Let's see. Pennsylvania, you will see this in Pennsylvania. The other places that you will see them will be predominantly Canada and Mexico. So here you have this lady, Eva Clark, and her race is listed as Moore. Father, Thomas Clack, Elizabeth Clack. Let's click on the record. Let us click on the record. Now, I want to blow this up really big because this shit was written over. Check it out. I want y'all to see this. I'm going to blow it up really clear. You see there was some other letter in the back here, right? You see that? It's enough characters to have said white. This is a strike over, and it now says more. There's the dot that the I would have had in white. This is a strike over. This was written over after posthumously. They did that a whole lot. Thank you, Savalas. They did that a whole lot. They strike over, did a lot of strike overs, which invalidates the document. So I wanted y'all to see that. Now let's see. V Bay, Valley Bay, most of them in Pennsylvania again. Female Moore, she was only 12. Birthplace was Pennsylvania. Okay, Allegheny County. Now let me see. It says the race is Moore. Let me see what's on the actual census record. Again, strike those. Look at all of these people are Moors. Negro, Negro, Negro. Then you have Moore. Stevenson Bay, Laura Bay, more. More. Right? Negro. Then it goes down to Negro here. Okay. Then you have white people here. So let's just see. Now look at, this is where they fucked up at. This is where they fucked up at. Y'all ready for this hit? Look at the race codes, the color codes. W for white, NEG for Negro, IN for Indian, CHI for Chinese, JP for Japanese, FIL for Filipino, Hindu, the motherfuckers from Bharat, from the country now doing business as India, Hindu, HIN, Korean, KOR. Other races spell out in full. Other races spelled out in full. More is a pretty short word. So they were able to write it out. Me too, Oak Cliff. I would like one too. I just want y'all to see some of this. So, okay, so now Arizona, more. Diamante T. Martinez. See, they don't have any of the Spanish names. This particular person's birthday was born, they were born in 1875. Yeah, that too, Cherokee. I ain't lying. I'll take them both. This person is listed as Moore. They died April 4th, 1910 in Cochise, Arizona. Let's be nosy and look at the record. Okay, so this is for Diamante Martinez. And this person died from tuberculosis. They contracted it in Mexico. They didn't know his date of birth here, but they had him at 35 years of age. Birthplace, Spain. He was a mariner. Listen to this. Isn't that interesting? He was a mariner from Spain. And they have him listed as Moore. They have him listed as Moore. Thank you so much, American Indian. Thank you so much, beloved. So you have this guy listed here as Moore, but he's also from Spain. Isn't that interesting? Okay, so let me see. Now that we're going to find there's also going to be some in Delaware too. But look at the names. Look at the names. Edra. Let's see this. Let's look at this one here. Okay, so this person, the Moore, they're married. Married to someone named Solomon. Okay, so this is Edra Drain. Occupation of deceased, domestic. Okay, so they were also born in Cheswold. Name of father, Edward Reed. And the mother was Mary Salmons. So yes, this person was in fact a Moore, or listed as such anyway. Now let me see. You have this person here, Sally Johnson. Okay, so there's also been some corrections here to the name. Sally Johnson, aka Sally Morgan. They do make typos, so they will go over it. And again, the race is listed as Moore, but sometimes it will have a race listed here and be completely different on the actual document. So you want to make sure that you actually open the document and inspect it. Inspect it fully for any errors, any typovers, things of that nature. So this was a female. Yes, she was a Moore. Married. This person died June 22nd, 1913. And they were born March 2nd, 1884. The cause of death was typhoid fever. And the parent's name was Napoleon Morgan. Let's see. Annette Durham. Okay. One moment. Let's see. Okay, hold on 1 second. Okay, here we go. So you have this is a Priscilla Durham, also listed as Moore. Also in Kent, Delaware. Now, Kent, Delaware, if I'm not mistaken, Kent had a school for Moors and Indians. That may be the same city or same county that they also had schools for Moors and Indians there, particularly. And I think those were the only schools, maybe in Delaware and perhaps Pennsylvania, if I'm not mistaken. But there were absolutely schools, particularly just for them. So here you have, again, Delaware, Newcastle, Delaware. You have Priscilla Durham, and here's a World War I draft registration card. Okay, so this person is natural born. This is in Smyrna, Delaware. This is Charles Milton Mosley. Natural born. Natural born, okay? Race. Specify which. More. Do you claim exemption from the draft? He didn't want to be drafted because he had stomach trouble. But he's listed as a Moor. Now over here, this will tell you this is why the military cards and the records and the draft registrations are very important, because if you don't have pictures, you have a nice description of, sometimes how tall the grandfather was, what complexion. So this man was medium. He had gray eyes, black hair, slender, medium. So he had a medium build. But this here doesn't give his complexion. Now, on a lot of them, they give the complexions. They'll say that this person was dark, had green eyes, things of that nature. If they were stout, if they were short, if they were tall, things of that nature. So you kind of have, if they have a scar, they would indicate if they had a scar on their forehead. So you would have an idea of what your ancestors may look like or may have looked like. At least you have some sort of clue. So let me see. Okay, so that was Charles Milton Mosley. Let's see. This is another U.S. draft card for a person named James Weed. Now, notice these places are all in the same areas where they were documenting people as Moors. Okay, this is going to go to another conversation at another time that I'm telling y'all about these Moors. I just got to give y'all a little bit at a time. I want y'all to deal with this stuff right here. Then we're going to have a whole nother conversation. When Gapo, cousin. So let's look at James Weed. You also have William James Carter from Delaware, also a Moore. Let's see. Now look at these areas. This is also, again, it's going right to Kent, Delaware. Also natural born, medium, body shape, gray hair, black eyes. Color of hair was black. Okay, hold on 1 second. Okay, so now you have Edward Morgan. This is probably a relative to that other Morgan. Now let's see what this person looks like. The date of this registration. This person's tall. The color of his eyes are just dark, and they just have the color of their hair as black. He's a tall man, medium build. This one here also, Cheswold, Delaware, natural born. He's a railroad laborer for the Pennsylvania Railroad Company. Very interesting. And also, okay, so yes, they have his race listed as Moor. Okay, so another draft card. Let's check out David Greenidge. Random. Okay, this man had brown eyes. He was a tall man with a medium build, black hair. Also, David Greenidge from Cheswold, Delaware, natural born, and they still have him listed as a Moor. He is unable to claim exemption. He claims exemption for a weak right side. Now, have you noticed any trend yet? Let's go back. I'm gonna go back to another one. Let's see if y'all caught this. Let's go to Alfred Coker. Okay, y'all ready? Alfred Coker, his reason for not being drafted. His right leg is imperfect. Okay? Did you notice that all these people that are calling themselves Moors are getting themselves out of the draft? Did you notice that? They're all claiming some sort of ailment which prohibits them from being fucking drafted. Isn't that indicative of the characteristics of these Moors now, always trying to get over? Right? That's generally what they're known for. Even in the documents in antiquity, it says that. So that's in their nature. They're trying to get from around, get from over, get from under. Historically, literally, and physically, and figuratively. Okay, so let me go down, show y'all something else. All these people in Delaware, David Green. Okay, so this is person was born January 8th. Let's see if he's got an excuse as to why his ass don't need to be drafted either. Let's see. Okay, so this one didn't have any excuses. Also, a natural born person here. This person had gray eyes, medium height, medium build, black hair, and slightly balding, this particular person. Okay, so that was David Greenidge. Now, let me just show you. I ain't going to run through all of these, but I just wanted to show y'all. Anything attached to anybody that say that they are Moors, there are only 49. Let me blow this up. 49 documentations provided on Moors. Okay, used to be more than that. Let me just make sure I did not. Now look over here in this corner right here. So there's only 16 records on Moors, and they start in the 1940s generally, and that's here in the US. Okay. Then you have birth and marriage and death records. There's only 12 of them. You have 19 military records. You have 1 directory and member list. Okay, and this is Chicago and Northwestern Railroad. This is a John Cromwell Bay, and his mother is Rebecca Smith. His father is Charlie Bay. And they were from Fortis, Arkansas, born 1895. And his residence at the time was recorded December 17th, 1947. He's also, now this one here is listed as Negro Moor. They still gonna have to get down with this burden of proof. So check this out. This is John Cromwell Bay. Color or race. They have this man listed as, there's an X right there by Negro, and then they also say more. So this is in Chicago. One second. Okay, hold on 1 second. Oh, wait, I wanted to go back over here. Okay, so that was directories. Court, land, wills, and financial. So let's see, this here is court, governmental, and criminal. James Howard Landecker, Zamel, black, born October 24th, 1924. And it has his parents listed here. And it also has the other variation of the name. So let me see something here. All right. Did I want to do anything else? Oh, this is why. Let me change that. Now, this is why the other 7 searches didn't come up, because I had the collection focus on the United States. So when I do the worldwide focus, because I have the world records, it'll be a little more. So now watch, that number will change now. And this is where you have a couple of records from 1901. So now that I have expanded it, and I said what? I said between 52 and 56 yesterday in my live. So it was 49 just now. There's only 54 hits completely on anything that has anything to do with Moors in the entire 400 something years of documentation. Here, that's just here. So it's going to be important for them to look here. This is where a lot of them came through. Now, this is a Spanish woman. Well, just her race is listed as Moor. Maria Josefa Perez has her listed. These records are in Spanish, but you can certainly cross-reference them. And this person's birthday was 1757, and they were born in Quetzaltenango. March 31st, 1757 was her baptismal date, and she was baptized in San Miguel, Tlaxcala, Michoacan, Mexico. Her father was Pedro, and her mother was Guadalupe. So this is a female that is listed as a Moor. And this is going to be her marriage record. And now they have her listed as white. She got married in 1780. And this is in Mexico. Okay. So let's see. I definitely just kind of wanted you to see that. Now, you know, these are the same parents. This is who she married, some dude named Feliciano Ojeda. But those are still her parents, Pedro. And this is the birthplace, that Quetzalcoatl. Now I'm just going to show you what's different, and then there's going to be some people in Canada. Okay, so here is another more from Mexico. This guy's name is Joseph Florencio Trevino. His birthplace was Pátzcuaro. Also Michoacan. Okay. Let's see. This person was born, baptized 1722. And then, of course, it has the person's parents there, whatever. This one actually has an image. So I'm going to click on the image so that you can get the visual of this image. What's happening, American Indian Council? What's up, beloved? Okay, let me see. All right, now this is in Spanish. So sometimes you have to sit here with your translator. You got to blow it up really, really big. And I would just say take one word at a time. Sometimes it may be English and Spanish. But also keep in mind, a lot of these records are colonial records or pre-colonial records. So just how they have the old English, the middle English, the high English. There's different dialects of Spanish as well, especially here. Being in Mexico, and that's where so we don't really know the it's not widely expressed, but if you sit here long enough with the dictionary, sometimes you have to change the screen resolution because this here particular document has a little bit of watermarks on it. There's certainly some writing on the back of it that we'll probably never see, but I told you there's a way to do that, and you want to invert the colors sometimes, and that makes it easier. So you see how now if you invert the colors, it's a little more legible to read when you make it that way. See how much nicer that is sometimes, and it's less strain on the eyes as well. Less strain on the eyes as well. So let's see. It makes it a lot easier. Okay, some of these words I can make out without a translator, like infant. Um, you have life. So it's like written in some English and Spanish. I don't know if it's just that document or what, but it is like that. So again, like I'm saying, make sure that if you having trouble reading that, change the resolution on the screen, and that might be of some assistance to you. Now, these other records, we've all seen them coming out of Delaware with the Morgans and the Greenages, and the Seenies, this person's Seenie right here. Let me see. The World War I draft cards. Let's see. So that's it. 54 hits. 54 hits. That's it. That's it. So now I also wanted to show, let me see. There's a lot that they haven't expressed. The Moors. Let me see something. Oh, yeah, I got some of those spicy meatballs also. Give me one moment. Let me find this. I don't know what I did with it. Give me 1 second. Macadon. I was just watching that movie. Oh man, as I read it, I heard the dude's voice in the movie. No more to lock doors. There was a war that I was speaking about yesterday. I just kind of want to show you guys. Let me see. Let me see. Come on, so. Let me get this. I wanted to show you where there was this war, and it was kind of recent, but these are some of the things that you've never hear the Moors identify themselves with. And they will kind of smother you in their trying to convince you of how American they are and their sense of entitlement here, but they show a lack of pride for North Africa. They show a lack of pride for Spain. They show a lack of pride for Germany and all these other places that they say that they pioneered and they were from and all this other stuff. But now at this point, they attach themselves to the American Indian, and they still call themselves Moors. So in order to eliminate the confusion, there is a certain protocol, and we have to write this because they've been blatantly able to get away with quite a few things and whatever else, the powers that be have definitely not let them get away with a lot of things, especially when it comes to the paper terrorism and all of those fancy ideas and stuff like that. But as far as their particular birthright is concerned and them having ancestry here in America, their place of origin is almost always blatantly ignored. It's always blatantly ignored. And that, my friends, is a Native American. It is not the same as an American Indian or an American Aboriginal. It's not the same. It's not the same. Noble Drew Ali is very skeptical. You only find one Timothy Drew. He's in North Carolina, right around the time where they said he was born, but that's all you get. Most of it is from Jersey. Most of the documents pertaining to Noble Drew Ali is in Chicago and New Jersey. You can find him in a couple of telephone books in early 1900s in New Jersey. But then you see him in Boston. I believe his wife is from Boston. I do not remember what his son's name is, but his son very well could have been one of those people in Chicago that we just looked at those profiles, right? I didn't really pay it too much mind, and that was a couple of years ago. When I was on my little Mad Indian shit, a couple years ago, I did everybody's genealogy. Dr. John Henry Clark. I did Cornel West. I did Martin Luther King. I did Harriet Tubman. Definitely Drew Ali. I did a little bit of Marcus Garvey. Let me see. Sojourner Truth. I did a couple of the Arthur Schomburg. I was just doing kind of random stuff back then, just to prove that most of the people that they would send to try and deter us from what it is that we were trying to clearly express as far as us being American Indians, I would have to show them, especially Dr. John Henry Clark's, how that man talked about Africa for 40 years, better part of his life. And his parents listed as mulatto. They were American Indian, Chickasaw and Creek for that matter. So, and Choctaw. So, that was kind of weird to me. And now that was a couple of years ago. I don't exactly remember everything, but I do know that if you had listed, I found some documentation on race, and especially in Alabama, South Carolina, and places like that. If they listed you as mulatto, you were most certainly American Indian. Most certainly American Indian. So this one was about a war. I wanted to find that. Hold on a second. Oh wow, sorry. Hold on, guys. Okay, so give me 1 second. I wanted to find this particular article. And this was recent. This was in the early 1900s, the last decade of the 1800s. And it talks about them fighting this particular group of people that I've never even heard of. And these people sound very, what do you call it? They sound biblical, like the Azarites or something like that. I want to find it. You never, again, like I said, you never hear them talking about it. And they always refer to Moors and Spaniards as Africans also. I've seen that as well. And these are in foreign newspapers in these lands where these oppressors have been. So let me read this little, see what this says right here. This isn't one of the ones that I was actually looking for. Let's see. On Saturday, Captain John Condit was appointed commander of the Dolphin man of war. There is a report by a man of war arrived from Lisbon of a fourth action between the Spaniards and Moors, in which latter are said to have lost 1,600 men. So the Moors lost 1,600 men. Now, this is still going to be during the Barbary Wars. Now, this paper here is the Newcastle Weekly Current, and it's from Sunday, January 28th of 1720. So there's going to be a lot of history here. Let me see something. So who knows if that expulsion was 1492 or if it took them another 100, 200 years in order to, have the Moors moved. So now this is always going to be the same thing. I see this is the same. Now there's a little something different here, but this right here is still the same article that I was reading before out of this publication. Okay, so let's look at this one. This is also from 1720. It's just from March. Our last letters from Ceuta advised that Moors, let me see, making a line of countervallation as designing to besiege that place again. So they were looking to take over something. What's this right here? Okay. Okay, so now this says, let's just go to the infidels. Okay, on the 13th in the night, the Marquis de Lede sent out 500 horses supported by 2 companies of grenadiers, commanded by Colonel John Manuel Ibanez, who after having posted some of his men in proper places for securing his retreat, detached 100 carabineers who, advancing full speed towards the entrenchments of the enemy, the latter marched off with precipitation and were pursued by the Spaniards, quite to the completely abandoned by the Marquis de Lede. Where finding another considerable body of the infidels, they were obliged to retire. In that action, they slew several of the Moors and took 2 horses. So you're going to see a lot of killing that was done. And this is newspapers.com. There's a lot of killings that was done, but the Moors and the Spanish were fighting up until the 1900s. So when it says, hey, G Major, so when it says that, they got kicked out in 1492, this beef was going on for hundreds of years, hundreds and hundreds of years. So you can guarantee at the point where, and they were also coming here to America. They were coming here to America since the 1600s. And I can totally prove that through the 1625 King James proclamations, when he expelled the Irish Protestants out of England, Scotland, and Ireland as well. The Moors got sent over here too. So there was also where they were doing their Indian slavery as well, when they lumped everybody in together. And there was only exceptions for Moors and Indians in amity and commerce with, the throne at that time, which was King James. So definitely want to check out those 1625 King James proclamations. Definitely very interesting. You will see there were millions of fucking Irish that got kicked out. Millions of Irish that got kicked out and was sent over here. So they kind of lumped everybody all into this one boat. And they also even made a distinction between the Moors and Turks. The Moors, Turks, the American Indians coming in from different states and different territories. If they were prisoners, they were, all of that. It definitely made a distinction. And as long as they were in amity with the king at the time, everything was hunky-dory. So then you'll also see a lot of times when they're talking about Moors, they're talking about birds. They're not even speaking about people at all. They're not even speaking about people at all. Let me see if I could pull up that 1625. Okay, this is Oxford. Okay, so here is 35,000 people, Irish people. Let me tell y'all too, back up y'all information. Yesterday I got a email from Family Search, which is through the National Archives. That is the family tree that was like the most accurate, the most complete. I've been working on that for 14 years. They sent me a hint on one of my relatives, Annie West. I went to receive the hint and check it out, and my whole entire tree was gone. That shit logged me into Family Search and said, add your grandparents. So my whole entire family tree is gone. It even removed my siblings and my children. It just had me there, me and my husband. That was it. Didn't have my parents, didn't have my sisters, brothers, didn't have my children, my nieces. It didn't have any of us. It just said, add your grandparents. That was pretty fucked up. Not only did, not just a matter of having the family tree, but having all of those documents. See, I try to have as many source documents attached to each person. So those were, because they were, from such a long period of time on a lot of individuals, I will say just even from the 16 and 1700s, I had 20, 30 documents on each person. You see what I'm saying? Naming the same family members, whether they were baptismal records, just all sorts of things, land grants, land patents, all of those things. And they're not easily transferable between that and Ancestry.com unless you actually save it and then you can upload it and have it as a thumbnail for the most part on Ancestry. But outside of that, they'd rather you use the way the database is. You use the Ancestry records. Now you can download them from both sites, from all sites, but you can use Ancestry records and pull them through Family Search and attach them there, but you can't do the same to Ancestry unless you actually upload them after you've already downloaded them. Bottom line is, my shit is fucked up. I got to start all over again, and that's 14 years worth of shit. Okay, so even getting the family back together, that's fine, but having the documentation on everybody. Now, there was probably 3 grandparents that were slaves, and they were granted something in North Carolina for participating in some sort of skirmish or something like that. And this is how they gained their freedom. I had that probate, and it's so fucked up because being able to try and sift through all of those documents again, it's going to be really fucking hard. It's going to be really fucking hard. And that is what I'm afraid of. Some of the links don't work anymore, or even just a lot of things that were available initially, they may not be available now. And because of that, I just don't know. I'm trying not to be really hurt and upset about it. I don't mind starting over, but that's a lot of fucking work that I did. It's kind of like, losing a child. Like I feel a separation anxiety, but I just can't really cry about it right now. Maybe it just hasn't set in, but in the back of my mind, that shit pissed me off. Thank you so much, G Major. Thank you so much, beloved. So, you know, but that's that. So make sure the bottom line and the moral to the story was to make sure that you guys are downloading, cataloging also. So if you are saving some of the stuff on your computer or your phone, make a separate folder. Okay. Try not to overwhelm yourself. You're gonna have to make separate folders for each family member, or maybe just kind of keep it, like you, your parents, and your siblings in one folder. Your grandparents and all of their children in another folder. Your great because it's going to double and triple and quadruple and all of that. So I don't even know off the top of the head what to really tell you, but I'm just going to tell you, save all your shit, whether it's scattered or neatly saved where you're able to access it or whatever. Make sure you got your shit, period, so that shit doesn't happen to you. Make sure it doesn't happen to you. So I wanted to see are you kidding me? Proclamation of King James. Okay, they trying to, this is Oxford, that's why they want me to download or subscribe. I don't even know what to fucking say to them. I'm just gonna say I'm really fucking pissed off about it, but I just can't go ape shit. I got too much stuff to really deal with right now. This is a book. I don't want this one. This isn't what I want. So now they're being cheesy. I might have the shit downloaded already. Because now they're being cheap. Okay, so maybe the Library of Wisconsin will let me read it. But there's going to be a bunch of information in this particular proclamation, especially regarding the Irish. So you'll see where a lot of these names came from. And yeah, Sarita, I'm just, I don't know. I try not to, even when I'm upset or I'm hurt or in pain, I try not to project that onto anybody else. So that I just kind of compartmentalize shit a lot. I do that a lot. And when I have a moment, I'll sit and maybe, I don't know if I'm going to weep about it, light up a fat one and laugh about it, but I'll deal with it at another time. Right now, just making sure that I get this information out to y'all so y'all don't fucking make the same mistake as me and not, make sure that you import. Because I think I might have done that because of Donnie's suggestion, sending it to myheritage.com. I might have done it, but right now I just felt like a fucking devastation behind it. I ain't even gonna hold you. I felt the devastation behind it that I'm just not, gonna give credence to right this second because we got business to do right here, right now. But I'm all right, Don. I thank you for your concern as well. So, Henry Viscount Monville. All right, now this isn't it. I'm going to have to get that link and get back to you. I don't know why it's like pulling teeth finding this right now. Also, I showed you guys the Middle Plantation Treaty some months back, and I told you how it spoke about Virginia being Virginia and the Carolinas being West Indies. Do you guys know I have not been able to find it ever since? So I'm actually going to have to go to the archives and have that pulled up. Yeah, or I'm going to have something sent to one of the family search centers here by me. When I go upstate, like to Albany, or I go to Massachusetts, I can definitely get it sent there. But here in New York, it's like I got to go all the way out to Long Island, and it's not really that far. I'm really like 10 minutes away from fucking Hempstead. I'm just exaggerating because it's just not, it's the convenience of it. And they want you to make an appointment. And their appointment hours are pretty sucky too. Like you get like from 9 to 12. Then they don't open up again until like, probably like 4 to 7 or something weird like that. So, those are the type of places you can go in and sit in and shit, you could be in there for 12 hours. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes in Queens or in Manhattan, when I go to the big libraries, I'm in there for 10 hours and don't realize I didn't eat. I barely got up to go to the bathroom once. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see. We'll see how this goes. So I did get a couple of remedies to figure out, as long as it wasn't wiped completely off there, deleted off of their server, I should be able to archive it or retrieve it. So hopefully I'll be able to do that. But I'm telling y'all, don't make the same damn mistakes that I did. So you guys are going to see the Stewart name. Some of us have Stewarts in our family. You know this, the pan frieds tried to laugh at me. You know, this dude is related to me. I didn't ask for that shit, but he is King James. And these are the Stewart Royal Proclamations. Y'all do understand that they sent half of their own fucking folks over here, right? So all the chocolatey Europeans got kicked out and sent into peonage. Halito, Empress Copper Fox. You know? So, yeah, that's how that shit goes. I think there's also one. I see you, Joe Ma. There's also one in not Baldwin. It's not that far from Hempstead, but those are the only two family search centers that are, relatively close. Other than that, you got to go to like East Elmhurst or, outside of the borough, Manhattan or whatever, which is too busy sometimes for me. I kind of like being out here in Queens and Long Island. It's a little more laid back and shit, Sometimes the hustle and bustle of the city just gets on my damn nerves. Let me see something. I really want to find this particular one. Let me see if I saved it. Let me see. Let me see. Let's see. I have this particular article, and I'm really. You guys, also, if you get the all access through Ancestry, you guys will have the access to fold3.com and to newspapers.com as well. I don't know if you guys ever seen Fold3, but let me show you what it's like. Let me show you what the Fold3 is like. Okay, hold on one second. Okay. What's up, Cherokee Tolu? Hi, Empress Hobart. Let me see. Yeah, you can still trust Family Search too, Chad Murdoch. Family Search, especially with you being in Jamaica, you're gonna find most of the records there. I'll send you some links because they just opened up some new shit. But I found a lot of records from the 1700s. In Jamaica, you'll have to go through the Spanish records too. So it's not just it's not just going to be ancestry.com, and it's not going to be just Family Search. Those are the primary ones, but you also have Fold3. You can look in the British archives. That's where I found out the Palatines and some of the Irish that was sent to Jamaica. I found a lot of relativity through there for people through the British archives. It's not the same. Canada has now been able to let me check, Macadonna. You talking about me? Oh, I thought you sent the email. Canada is now not being so stingy. So with their records, they have opened up some new things, and they're easier to navigate through. So that's going to be interesting too. A lot of our people fled into Mexico, and they also fled into Canada. They went into Nova Scotia. I found out something very interesting through the Canadian records. Did you guys know that not only was it Sierra Leone and Liberia, but Haiti was also one of the places that they were able to go and colonize. They didn't really want to go to Haiti. So they chose Sierra Leone and Liberia. Who knew that? And also, let me tell you, the Haitians came here and helped with the American Revolution, and then they went back and had their own revolt. Oh yes, I'm gonna do something on that. I'm definitely gonna do a show on that and bust up that. I'm gonna bust that whole thing wide open. I thought that was so interesting. So the inspiration for their turn up skirmishes that they had that resulted in their independence in 1804 was inspired by them fighting over here in the Revolutionary War with our folks. Isn't that some shit? Isn't that some shit? So a lot of them settled in Nova Scotia. They went to Sierra Leone, and then they also came back, and they think they, from Angola and shit. And those are some of your Gullah Geechees, all from French colonies: Nova Scotia, Louisiana, Haiti. So being that they came back after they have had a generation or two in Sierra Leone, you can't tell these motherfuckers they're not African. You can't tell them, a lot of Gullah Geechees, that they're not. You can't tell them that they're not. And that's something. They also had a lot of Jamaican soldiers that absolutely helped in the Revolutionary War as well. And a lot of them were promised land. And for the most part, that's right, Macadon. For the most part, they were dissatisfied and they went back home. They didn't want to stay, especially if they was giving them barren land and shit. They was like, "Fuck y'all, we out of here." That's what happened. So that's I want to get back into that a little later, but definitely I got that spicy meatball where it talks about the Haitians being here prior to them even going to have their own revolt. Ain't that something? So let me see. Oh yeah, they had land warrants, land bounty warrants. And a lot of times you'll see that is because the men they fought in some particular war. They fought in some particular war and they were promised something. My mom said it's not Cherokee. Brooklyn lady, you'll be able to track down, so this is why, let me tell you guys why a lot of people have problems finding a specific tribe. Because you are a blend of multitude of different tribes from all the traveling and settling that they did in different places. Okay. So don't be, just because you know them to be in Virginia does not mean that you don't have Iroquois ancestry or Ojibwe ancestry. It doesn't mean that. Just because you haven't found it yet. Now keep in mind, the whole thing was to make sure we were de-tribalized. But you're going to be able to find somebody that's directly related to one of your grandmothers that's going to help you. Maybe if you can't find them on the tribe, see if any of the men are on any of the treaties that existed. Okay. See if the men are on any of those military records. It's not going to be that. It's not going to be that hard. It's not going to be that hard. And I'm going to tell y'all, not finding your tribe is not the worst thing. Still practice being a fucking individual Indian. There is a such thing as that. Don't let these niggas tell you that. So you gonna have to pick one and stick to one, because you say you can't find the tribe now, honey. When you find 12, that shit gonna give you a headache. It's gonna give you a headache when you find you have no tribe to find in 12, and then you don't know which side to pick on, which side to stay on. Because you're a little bit of everything. They know that. They just didn't expect us to find this shit out. So don't worry about that, sister. Still, in your own individual capacities, make sure that, y'all changing up y'all documents and shit like that. For the ones that you do have, for the ones that do have that documentation. Make sure you're changing your records at the school. Make sure your doctor's offices know. Do it for yourself and do it for your parents. Straight up. And then, you got to start hitting these people with these fucking discrimination lawsuits when they try and tell you that you can't have this or you can't have that. I remember section 184 for HUD to give you out in California when I was in Cali, for them to help you get a guaranteed loan to purchase a house, right? And you know, these motherfuckers was fighting me, and I wound up coming here because I still didn't drag them tooth and nail, because I'm planning on going back to it. So whatever battles I left in the middle of the skirmish, I hope these motherfuckers don't think they won. Something else just happened to take precedence, and I was, had to leave it. So if you look up section 184 on the HUD site, that is where they give you, and they're carefully saying natives, carefully saying fucking natives. So that shuts who out? The American Indian. They know that there's a fucking difference. So now they're still discriminating, even in these acts that were totally for us. Okay. So now this means that this is where you pull out your Civil Rights Act, because it specifically says that the Indian cannot be discriminated against in any federal activities. So I don't give a fuck if it's for a Polish club. I don't care if it's for the Italian Day Parade. Guess what they can't do? They can't discriminate against the American Indian. So it's just going to be a matter of us taking them to task in that instance. You know what I'm saying? And following things through. That's why I tell you, you got to make sure you eliminate some of this stress out your way, because this shit, they will drag you to court for 10, 20, 30 years. A nigga might win a landslide case and be dead by the time they finally see a fucking victory. Especially when now people are just like, they're getting through, having these breakthroughs with their ancestors. What you gonna do when you gotta find a whole bunch of acres that belong to you, and there's a whole bunch of pilgrims sitting there acting like they pretending to be you and the Joneses? Now you got to take them pilgrims to court. That they'll drag that shit out. You got to have the money for that. They'll drag that shit out 20, 30 years. Then what? So it's so much shit that we have to make sure that we prepare ourselves for. And I'm gonna tell you, a lot of it definitely shouldn't be, what the hell? Let me see. A lot of it shouldn't be worried about stuff. I'll just tell you that. Don't want to be worried about shit. That shit causes stress. What the hell? Oh, there you go. Something bit me on my eye. I'm trying not to scratch it. So in addition to that, the allergies been driving me crazy out here in New York. See, look, something bit me on my eye. See that? And then I scratched it and putting bacitracin on. I want to scratch it. It itches so bad. I just keep my hands clean, so when I gotta do that, I don't fuck it up even more. But damn, I do not like this shit out here. This allergy shit. I'm allergy prone. Never had allergies until my mid-30s. I never even had my first pimple until I was fucking 35. I don't think my sister ever had one, but yeah, New York is not that friendly. I've been sneezing, stuffy nose, my ears all stuffed up, just like a big schmuck since I've been back here. Okay, so here it is. Let me just make sure. Okay, I just want to make sure you guys are able to see it. Let me know if y'all can see this. Fold 3. So, let me do this for this little bitch ass nigga too. What's that little punk ass nigga? YK Truth. Nigga was all in my motherfucking family tree. You know them bitches ain't got one. After I did the show with Jabari and shit like that. Here go one of my grandmothers right here. This is Tame though. She looked like a whole ass pilgrim. Let me see. This is the nigga that said YK Truth talking about the my motherfucking Muay toy ain't real. You know what the fuck he talking about. And here's a few of them all right here. There's the Muay toy. A couple of them on here. Then I got the 5 killers. Got a couple Lauries. Look at these names: Browns, Thompsons, Big Acorn. Now this is also gonna be where you see let Look at these names: Wet Bird, the Flea, Parched Cornflower. There's somebody here named Slave Boy. Look at that. And this is the list right here. This is the actual list from 1805 Cherokee Indian Agency. See? So yeah, for the little punk ass nigga that ain't got no family tree. This one here, his name was 24 Downs. Let me see. Samuel Wiley. You know. Let's see. So this particular his name is John McLemore, but he was also known as Squallow, right? So when you see John McLemore, you can follow those types of names and you'll find your folks' ancient names. So when you get to people like the Foremans, especially in particular places like Tennessee and Kentucky and shit like that, all the families was there. All the families kind of went back and forth together. So if I'm at my house, let's say Donnie's at my house in Manhattan today. He'll be on the census for my house, right? But then when he goes home and he goes home to Virginia, he's going to be stopping in New Jersey. And when he stops to see our cousin in New Jersey, guess what? The census taker is there too, right? So now Donnie's now on that census. He hasn't even made it home yet to Virginia. Now when he gets to Virginia, he's in his household with his wife, his children. You see what I'm saying? And now he's on 3 different censuses. So it's always good to follow the collateral lines so that you are able to attach them to each other as siblings, brothers and sisters, or brothers, and whatever in that regard. So, but these fucking slowpoke pan frauds, they don't know that. And I'm done even showing them. Unless they come to me on an individual basis and want to pay me, I'm done even showing them how to locate their folks and build up their suit. You know what I'm saying? So they can get what they're supposed to get without fail. Because, I'm just done with it. The blatant disrespect and disregard and all that shit, I ain't fucking around with them. Let them sink or swim. Horns, though, I definitely know horns out of Virginia, out of Tennessee. They are absolutely Indian. They are Chickamauga. I just seen them on clans too. I could tell you some of the clans of the horns. Damn, this is so much. Shit, I'm trying to think. I just was in that area somewhere. I was just in that area. Damn, I just was looking at the horns for somebody else too. I can't think right now, but I know the horns for sure. They were absolutely American Indian. So even if you don't find, I just happened to find, like, look at, if I didn't find these folks right here, if I didn't find, like Richard Fields, who happens to be a Cherokee chief, and he was half white, like mixed breed dude. They got the Jews descending from their American Indian mother, right? So now, if they weren't who they were as far as the military is concerned, and as far as being Indian traders and translators, there's probably a lot that I wouldn't know either. Okay? There's probably a lot that I wouldn't know either. So don't, think that someone else's bit Indian is bigger than yours. You see what I'm saying? Don't look at it from that perspective. Let's keep going. This shit is a lifetime thing, so it's never gonna fucking stop. You see, it's never gonna stop. So just make sure that. Let me see. What is this? No, that's not it. Yeah, 1600s. You know, if it wasn't for some of these military campaigns and stuff like that, I wouldn't have. There wouldn't be so much extensive knowledge that I would have on that as well. See, when I first came through, I knew the Choctaws were the hardest to find, specifically because of the Alabama, Mississippi, the St. Stephen's line disconnect and stuff like that. So, initially I claimed my grandfather, one of my grandfathers, that was his heritage, Choctaw Creek. But as time went on and I was exposed to all these other different lines of ancestry, especially via my grandmother, where the information was absolutely overwhelmingly pouring out, couldn't hide it, to the point where you just like, damn, another set of Indians, another set, and you can see where they were intermarrying. And I'm happy about that because it brought me to a place where I have met several of my cousins, right, in cyberspace, and we have like 10, 12 lines. Like Donnie and I have several lines. Tasha, she and I have a couple of lines together. Cousin Tayana, we have a couple of lines. There's a few people, and I'm sure once you guys get established, or when we're able to have this powwow that we're putting together, and we'll be able to sit down and we'll have our little workshop and shit, we're going to be seeing who else is related to us. We got cousin Liz Robinson. She's also related, and I think she's on the Moy Toy side as well. So through those lines, and we'll find out. And that's the case. So now when we have that instance, don't worry about, I know that's right, G Major. Don't worry about who you can't find right now, because once we start having these workshops and we're sitting down and we're being able to exchange this type of information, when you find out that you're related to me, or I find out that I'm related to such and such, we're family. So there you will be able to absorb each other. So nobody's going to get left out of this shit. We just got to have people finding their information, their documentation, so we can move on to bigger things. I don't want to push out so much information that you can't get past ABC. It'd be irresponsible of me to do so. And again, I don't know everything. Y'all do realize that we are writing the script right now of how our posterity and things are going to go. Nobody hasn't done this. They just put all these things together, took our minds off of it, so we didn't think we had any remedy, any cure, any solution. So now that we are creating this manual, we are at the forefront of things to come, not the fucking ass end of the things that happen. You see? So once we are able to collectively have all these things going together, we'll all be able to work together, and then we can form the political party, and then we can have representation, and then we can start making demands, and then everything that we need is going to start falling into place. You see? So there's a certain, series of things that we are going to have to do. There's a lot of Greens. They were, a lot of them were Irish descent, Scottish descent. The Browns, a lot of Browns, Lloyd, especially out of Maryland, they are going to be Susquehanna, perhaps some Lenape or some Delaware rather. And also, I can't think of the name. It starts with an M though. And I just visited them. And the only way I found them was because one of the white grandfathers was like a Quaker man or something like that. Well, let me not say that. They had some sort of thing with the Quakers, like, because it does say that they were Negro, I believe, but the Quakers has some sort of they had some sort of discourse ultimately, and they left and said, fuck that, left Maryland and went to Virginia. But I do know that Browns also left with them. So from that Maryland area, because I really didn't have too much. And his name was Samuel. Damn, I can't think. I have a picture of one of the sons though. Samuel Richardson, it may have been. I don't know. Now his son, I found them on the colored cohabitation list schedules. They've been living together for a long time. And also this damn one of the grandfathers, he done married like 4 women in my family. That shit was kind of crazy to me. So you guys are gonna run into all sorts of you know, zesty tomatoes and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And it's you know, this is not for the faint at heart. Don't collapse if you find that they labeled one of these grandfathers white. You don't know that for sure. Now we're still having a hard time figuring out if all these so-called Europeans were European looking, what we're used to being called that particular look. I don't rightly know if that's the case, especially when I've actually seen people from France, people from Ireland that are absolutely listed as Negro or Black, and they're on the free blacks list, or they're on a free colored people list. But it specifically say that they from France, and it tells you how long they were in the state. Tells you how long they were in the state. So, you know, you're going to go from zesty, spicy meatball to zesty tomato, honey. And we're just going to make sauce out of it. You are the sauce. Keep that shit in mind. Don't none of this shit move unless you say so, Indian. Y'all just got to get that shit in your mind. Just got to get that shit in your mind. You see? And make sure that you embrace that. Don't be embarrassed. Motherfucker, don't go crazy if you do find you got an African. Don't go crazy if you find out you got an Irish. The whole thing is for you to know and not have to speculate. You see what I'm saying? You want to know and not have to speculate. This way you know how to move and you know what to tell your children. That's a whole fact. That's a whole fact. So definitely, I wanted y'all to see this. Let me see something. Let's see. I definitely want y'all to here we go. What is this? Okay. Okay. I don't think I put in the right hit here. However, I also want to tell y'all that a lot of them, when they did move, they also was in Georgia. Don't exclude the places because you seen them living in Virginia for 20 years, 30 years on 2 or 3 census. Don't think that they're not from Georgia. And sometimes for whatever reason, they lied or they didn't tell the truth. Either that, either they lied or the enumerator just put down what it is that he thought. You see what I'm saying? So now they would say that they were born in Alabama and their parents was born in Alabama. Come to find out, now look at their age, because if they saying that in 1830 and they were born in 1800, Alabama wasn't there. You see what I'm saying? So it'll be a part of Georgia, wherever it was that they lived. So it may look like they lying. No, they're not lying. You got to do the history on that particular place. A lot of these places, the towns were no longer there. There was a county called Illinois inside of Virginia. So these places don't exist anymore, right? So you definitely want to make sure you look at their age. You got to do this from context clue. It's not always so much of what you see. It's how you place the, strategically. You got to eliminate some things in order to extract the facts. So if you see somebody saying that they was from Georgia, but yet you have them on 4 or 5 different Alabama censuses, and you'd be like, well, wait a minute, I thought they said they was from Georgia. And then on the 1880 census, you see he almost 100, and he talk about he was from Georgia. You think he lying, but he not lying. It was Georgia before it was Alabama, where they lived at. Or it was Mississippi, or it was Louisiana, or it was West Florida before it was Alabama, right? Because Mississippi was established like 1817. Alabama was established 1819. So what was it prior to then? You see? So you definitely want to make sure that you're paying attention, because it could have been either or. Now, when they also talk about them being sent to Texas, I had to think about it. Texas could have been, or Mexico could have been anything. Mexico could have been anything outside of the 13 colonies, including Texas, including Colorado, Arizona, California. Mexico could have been any of those places. So now the purchase for Louisiana included all the way up into Canada prior to the theft of land there. And so when they're saying that now you got to divide that in between Spanish territory and French territory. I found some Spanish documents that showed my dad kept telling us about Wabash Indians. I've never heard anything about it. And he always said, oh, your grandfather said Wabash, Wabash, Wabash. I didn't know what he was talking about. So come to find out, they were part of the Illinois Confederation. So when I found these Spanish records, I realized at that point that prior to French control, it was under Spanish control. And it was at that point that the Illinois had formed a band. So in this particular band was a confederation, which included the Ojibwe, the Kickapoo, Sauk and Fox, it's a couple of others, but they were a confederation, the same as the Powhatan Confederation. They just had specific ties to that area, which also included some ties with the Iroquois, and the Hurons and what have you, and so forth and so on. So geographically, don't let them borders stop you from what it is that you know to be fact and where it is that you doubt yourself, when in all actuality, you know exactly what you're talking about. And just put the shit together and make it work. If you're doing it with your children or making it interactive or something like that, it might not be so stressful for you. You know what I'm saying? So, but I ain't gonna hold y'all too tough. I gotta go get me something to eat. I'm tired like a $2. Watch your mouth. You know what I'm saying? But I love y'all. I thank y'all so much for coming to hang out with me. Definitely going to get back to that thing when I told you Haiti done helped fight the American Revolution and then went back to Haiti and had their revolution. Yeah, so that's pretty fucking interesting to find out. What else? I think I'm gonna find those newspapers and I'll post them to YouTube, how I've been posting them like in the community thing so you guys can see it. I'll put those full faith and credit birth certificates. I don't know if y'all studied those laws, so if y'all got any questions regarding that, definitely email me so we can talk about it. I did post it, like I said, from the last time that I was on. See how that works for you. Look up those laws and see if it's beneficial. Again, if you feel like you're going to move to another state, you want to pull up their constitution and see what it is that they're going to do for you as far as protecting and reserving your rights and you being able to exercise your rights. Thank you so much, G. So you definitely thank you, Kurt. So you want to make sure that you got all your ducks in a row. But in the meantime, in between time, make sure they know who your children are. You got to send a little note. My child don't just insert yourself. It don't got to be aggressive. Don't do it aggressively. Save the aggression for when they try to play you and drop a piano on your head. Then this way you could just boom, drop the fucking A1, the C4 to the door, won't sleep no more on their asses. You understand what I'm saying? Don't be aggressive with nothing. You don't have to. It's in the bag already because they're just so used to violating your rights, so used to you not defending yourself properly that once you do, you're going to set the precedent. So just as how a lot of you guys are learning how to apply this stuff, guess what? On the other end, you're going to have to teach your oppressor how to learn too. Your oppressor's going to have to learn too. All those fucking years they went to school and they've been doing bullshit to a bunch of black people, but they don't know how to respect the Indians, see? So it's going to be a mutual exchange. So there's no need for aggression because they're not going to know what the fuck you're talking about. You can tell them to go call a commissioner, go get their boss. They're not going to know what you're talking about. They go by policy and procedure and do whatever the fuck they want to the so-called black man, black woman. So when it comes down to how they're going to deal with the Indian, they may not necessarily know. It's going to be a learning experience and a teaching experience for everybody. See what I'm saying? So definitely. Chihululi. Peace a la chique.